murder in the first degree, premeditated homicide, is the most serious charge tried in our criminal courts. You have heard a long and complex case, ladies and gentlemen, and it is now your duty to sit down to try and separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead. The life of another is at stake. If there is a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you must declare him not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you.
The jury will retire.
He doesn't stand a chance. Gum. Chewing gum. 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 You know something?
I know lots of things. I'm in finance.
You know, it's hot.
I never would have known that if you hadn't told us, would you?
I suppose not. I'd kind of forgotten.
All I've done all day is sweat.
I bet you weren't sweating like that kid who was tried.
You think they at least have the air conditioning on? Almost dropped dead in court.
My taxes are high enough.
This ought to go fast anyway.
Yes, it's hot.
Okay, everybody's here. If there's anything you need, I'm outside. Just knock.
Thank you. He locked that door?
Yes, he did.
What do they think we are, crooks? They lock us up for a little while, and they lock that kid up forever. It's okay by me. I never knew they did that. Sure they do. What'd you think?
I just didn't know. It never occurred to me.
Shall we admit right now that it is hot and humid and our tempers will be short?
It's been a pretty hard week.
I feel just fine.
I wonder what's been going on down at the office. You know how it is in finance. In 6 days, my job would be gone. And the whole company, too. They're not going to like this.
Well, figure this is our duty.
I never objected to my duty. I just mentioned I might not have a job by the time we get back.
Ask him to hire you. He's rich. Look at that suit. Is that custom tailored?
Yes, it is.
I have an uncle who's a tailor.
And how does he do?
Not too well. You know, a friend of his, that's a friend of my uncle, the tailor. Well, this friend wanted to be on the jury in my place.
Why didn't you let him? I would have done anything to miss this.
And risk getting caught? You know what kind of fine you could pay for anything like that? And anyways, this friend of my uncle's was on a jury once. About 10 years ago. A case just like this one.
So what happened?
They let him off. Reasonable doubt. And do you know, about 8 years later, they found out he'd actually done it anyway. A guilty man, a murderer, was turned loose in the streets. Did they ever get him?
They can't.
Why not?
You can't be held in double jeopardy. Unless it's a hung jury, you can't be tried twice for the same crime.
That ain't gonna happen here.
6 days. Should have had it done in 2. Talk, talk, talk. Have you ever heard so much talk about nothing? Well, they are entitled. Sure, everyone gets a fair trial. That's the system. Not much you can say about it.
How'd you like that business about the knife? You ever hear a funnier story?
Well, look, you gotta expect that. You know what you're dealing with.
Who brought the switch knife that night?
And then he lost
A
it.
hole in his pocket.
A hole in his father.
An awful way to kill your father. Knife in the chest.
Well, you gotta expect that. Look at the kind of people you're dealing with.
matter with you? You got a cold?
A Lulu. These hot weather colds will kill ya.
I had one of those myself last year. I was on vacation, too.
All right, let's take seats.
Right. This better be fast. I got tickets to lend me a tenner for tomorrow. For tonight, sorry. I must be the only man in the world who hasn't seen it yet. All right, Your Honor, let's start the show.
How about sitting down? Over by the window.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tough to figure, isn't it? Kid kills his father. Bing, just like that. Well, it's the element. They let the kids run wild. Maybe it serves them right.
There are better proofs than some emotion you may have. Perhaps a dislike for a certain group of people.
We all agreed it was hot.
And that our tempers will get short. That's if we disagree. But this is open and shut. Let's just get it done.
All right. Now, you all can handle this any way you want to. I'm not going to make any rules. But if we want to vote now, sorry, discuss it first and then vote. That's one way. Or we could vote right now to see where we stand.
Let's vote now. Who knows? Maybe we can all go home.
Yeah, let's see who's where.
All right, let's vote now.
All right, let us vote. Anyone object?
That was easy.
Okay, all those voting guilty, raise your hands. 9, 10, 11. Okay, 11 guilty. Not guilty?
Hey, you're in left field.
Okay, 11 to 1. 11 guilty, 1 not.
Do you really think the kid's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, she doesn't know.
In 6 days, I could learn calculus. This is ABC.
I don't believe it's as simple as ABC.
I've never seen a guiltier man in my entire life.
What does a guilty man look like? He's not guilty until we say he is guilty. Are we to vote on his face? Look,
You heard the same things in court as the rest of us did. He's a dangerous killer. You can see it on his face.
where do you look to see if a man is a killer? I'd like to know. Tell me what the facial characteristics of a killer are. Maybe you know something I don't know.
Look, what is there about the case that would make you think that the boy is innocent?
He's 19 years old.
Well, that is old enough. He knifed his own father. 4 inches into the chest. Innocent little 19-year-old kid.
While I agree with you that the boy is guilty, let's try to avoid emotionally colored arguments.
Right. Proved it a dozen different ways in court. Do you want me to list them?
No.
Well, do you believe that stupid story he told?
Now.
Do you believe the kid's story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So, what'd you vote not guilty for?
There are 11 votes for guilty. It's not so easy for me to raise my hand and send a boy off to die without talking about it first.
Who said it was easy for me?
Or for me.
No one. He's still just as guilty, whether it's an easy vote or a hard vote.
There's something wrong with how fast I voted.
Not necessarily.
Listen, I think he's guilty. You couldn't change my mind if you talked for 100 years.
I don't want to change your mind.
So just what are you trying to do?
I want to talk for a while. Look, the boy's been kicked around all his life. You know, living in his mother dead since he was 9. It's not a very good head start. He's a tough, angry kid. But you know why some kids get that way? You knock them over the head, once a day, every day. I think that maybe we owe him a few words. That's all.
All right, it's hard, sure. It was hard for me. Everything I've got I fought for. I worked my way through college, but that was a long time ago, and perhaps you do forget. I fought, yes, but I never killed.
I know what it's like. I never killed nobody.
I've been kicked around too. Wait until you worked on Wall Street. The big boys issued IPOs. We all know.
In my country, in Europe, kicking was a sign. But let's try to find something better than that.
I don't mind telling you this, ma'am. We don't owe that kid a thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? You know what a trial costs? He's lucky he got it. Look, we're all adults here. You're not going to convince us he's innocent knowing what he is. You can't believe a word they say. I've lived among them all my life. You know that?
I don't know that. What a terrible thing for a person to believe.
Since when is dishonesty a group characteristic?
You have no monopoly on the truth.
All right. It's not Sunday. We don't need a sermon. What this woman says is very dangerous.
There's no need for arguing like this. You ought to be able to behave like adults.
Right.
Oh, all right. If you insist.
Thank you.
Sure.
If we're going to discuss the case, why, let's discuss the facts.
That's a good point. We have a job to do. Let's do it.
If you all don't mind, I'm going to close the window. It was blowing on my neck.
If you don't mind, I'd like it if we keep the window open.
But it was blowing on me.
Don't you want some air? It's summer. It's hot.
I was very uncomfortable.
Listen, there are 12 of us in here. It is the only window. If you don't mind.
I have some rights too.
So do the rest of us.
Couldn't you just trade chairs with someone at the other end of the table?
All right. I will keep the window open. If someone would trade.
Take my chair.
Thank you.
Shall we get back to the case?
Yes, let's.
I may have an idea. I'm just thinking out loud. But it seems up to us to convince this woman that we're right and she's wrong. Maybe we talk to her or two, you know? Try it on for size?
That sounds fair enough.
Very fair.
Supposing we go once around the table.
Okay, let's start off.
All right. We'll start with you.
Oh, well, I just think he's guilty. I thought it was obvious.
In what way was it obvious?
That nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. Innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't have to open his mouth. It's in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it.
Everybody has.
Well, sure. I've heard of it. I know what it is anyways. My meant was. I think he's guilty.
No reasons. He's guilty. There was a life at stake here.
Okay, then let's get to the facts. Let's take the old man. He lived on the second floor apartment right underneath the room where the murder took place. At 10 minutes after 12 on the night of the killing, he heard loud noises in the upstairs apartment. He said it sounded like a fight. Then, he heard the kid say to his father, "I'm gonna kill you." Right. A second later, he heard the father's body falling, so he ran to the door of his apartment, saw the kid running downstairs. Then he called the police. They found the father with a knife in his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death to around midnight.
Right. Now what else do you want?
Doesn't seem to fit.
Look, the boy's entire story is flimsy. He claimed he was at the movies. That's a little ridiculous, isn't it? He couldn't even remember what picture he
Right.
saw.
You're absolutely right.
He didn't have any ticket stuff.
Who gives a ticket stub at the movies?
That's true enough.
I suppose.
But the cashier didn't remember him.
And the ticket taker didn't either.
Look, what about the woman across the street? If her testimony don't prove it, nothing does.
That's right. She saw the killing, didn't she?
Let's go in order. Just a minute. Here's a woman who's lying in bed and can't sleep. It's hot, you know? Anyways, she gets up, looks out the window, and right across the street sees the kid stick the knife into his father.
How can she really be sure it was the kid when she saw through the windows of a passing elevated train?
She's known the kid all his life. His window is right opposite hers, across the L tracks. And she swore she saw him do it.
I heard her swear to it.
Okay, and they proved in court that you can look through the windows of a passing L train and see what's happening on the other side. They proved it.
Well, weren't you just telling us a minute or two ago that you can't trust them? You can't believe them?
So,
Then I'd like to ask you something. How come you believed her? She's one of them, too, isn't she?
you're a pretty smart gal, aren't
Hold
you?
it. Come on. Let's sit down.
Come on now.
What are you letting her get you all upset for? Just relax.
They did take us to the woman's room, and we looked through the windows of a passing elevated train, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And you could see what happened on the other side, couldn't you?
I didn't see as well as they told me I would see. But I did see what happened.
Do you see? Do you see?
Let's calm down. Your turn.
I'll pass.
That's your privilege. How about you?
I don't know. I started to be convinced. You know, with the testimony from those people across the hall? Did they say something about an argument between the boy and his father around 7 o'clock that night? I mean, I can be wrong.
I think it was 8 o'clock, not 7.
That's right. 8 o'clock.
They heard the father hit the boy twice, and then saw the boy storm angrily out of the apartment.
Right.
Well, what does that prove?
It doesn't exactly prove anything. It's just part of the picture. I didn't say it proved anything.
Anything else?
No.
Listen, I can't think of anything that hasn't already been said. We can talk all day about this, but I think we're wasting our time.
I don't.
Neither do I. Go on.
Well, let's just look at this kid's record. He stole a car. He's been arrested for mugging. I think they said he stabbed someone in the arm.
Yes, they did.
He's been picked up for knife fighting. At 15, he was sent to a reform school.
They sent him to that reform school for stabbing somebody.
Oh, this is a fine boy.
Well, ever since he was 5 years old,
So would I on a kid like that.
Right. It's the kids, the way they are, you know? They don't listen. I've got a kid. When he was 8 years old, he ran away from a fight. I saw him. I was so ashamed. So I told him right out. I'm gonna make a man out of you. Or I'm gonna beat you up into little pieces trying. When he was 15 years old, he hit me right in the face. It's big, you know? I haven't seen him in 3 years. Rotten kid. I hate tough kids. You work your heart out. All right, get on with it.
We are missing the point here. This kid, let's say he's the product of a broken home in a filthy neighborhood. We can't help that. We're not here to discuss the reasons why slums are potential breeding grounds for criminals. They are. I know that, and so do you. Children that come out of slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society.
You said it there. I don't want any part of them, believe me. I've lived in a slum all my life. Now wait a second. I used to play in the backyard with garbage. Maybe it still smells on it.
Let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal.
There is something personal. All right, come on now, lady. Let's not be so sensitive. She didn't mean you.
Who did she mean? I can understand the sensitivity.
Let's stop the bickering.
We're wasting time.
It's your turn. All right. I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow I felt the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough cross-examination. Too many questions were never asked.
While it doesn't change my opinion about the guilt of the boy, I do agree with you that the defense counsel was bad.
So,
This is a point.
what about facts?
So many questions were never answered.
What about the questions that were answered? Let's talk about that cute little switch knife, for example. You know, the one that fine, upright boy admitted buying.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and look at it again. I'd like to see it, Madam Foreman.
See why we have to look at it again. We all know what it looks like. What do you think?
She has a right to see exhibits and evidence.
Hey with me.
The knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, wouldn't you agree?
I do.
Let's get the sequence of events right as they relate to the switch knife.
The boy admits going out of his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father.
Or punched.
Or punched. The boy admits buying the switch knife from a neighborhood store. The storekeeper was arrested the following day after he admitted selling it to the boy.
I think we all agree it's an unusual knife. Pretty hard to forget something like that.
Everyone connected with the murder identified the knife. Why did the boy get it?
As a present for a friend of his, he said,
Am I right so far?
Right. You bet he's right. I want you to listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Next, the boy claims that the knife must have slipped through a hole in his pocket on his way home. That he never saw it again. Now there's his story. You know what actually happened. The boy took the knife home and stabbed his father with it later that night. And even remembered to wipe away the fingerprints.
No, it doesn't even fit.
Thank you. Everyone connected with the murder identified the knife. Are you saying that someone picked the knife up off the ground, took it to the boy's home, and stabbed his father with it just to be amusing?
No, I'm saying that maybe the boy lost the knife and that someone else stabbed the father with a similar knife. It's possible.
Look at this knife. It's a very strange knife. I've never seen one like it before in my life. Neither the storekeeper who sold it to him. Aren't you trying to get us to accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm not trying to make anyone accept it. I'm just saying it's possible.
Well, I'm saying it's not possible. Hey, what are you trying to do?
What do you think you're doing?
If you are.
My God!
Quiet. Let's stay quiet.
Where did you get it?
I got it in a little junk shop around the corner from the boy's house. Cost $2.
Now, you listen to me.
I'm listening.
You pulled a real smart trick here. But you proved absolutely nothing. Maybe there are 10 knives like that, so what?
Maybe there are.
The boy lied and you know it.
Maybe he did lie. Maybe he did lose a knife, and maybe he did go to the movies. Maybe the reason the cashier didn't see him was because he sneaked in, and maybe he was too ashamed to say so. Is there anyone here who didn't sneak into the movies once or twice when they were young? I didn't.
Really? Not even once?
We didn't have movies.
No.
Maybe he did go to the movies, and maybe he didn't. And he may have lied. Do you think he lied?
That's a stupid question. Sure, he lied.
Do you?
You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. The boy lied.
Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
Hey, who do you think you are? The guy's lawyer? Listen, there are 11 of us who think he's guilty. You're alone. If you keep being this stubborn, you'll hang this jury, you'll be trying to get him found guilty as sure as he's born.
You're probably right.
So what are you going to do about it? We could be here all night.
It's only one night. A man may die.
Oh, now, come on.
Yes, that's true.
I think we ought to get on with it.
Yes, let's get on with it.
How do you like this guy?
All right, fine. What have you got to say? You're the one holding up the show.
I have a doubt in my mind.
But you haven't really given us anything impossible. There's the woman across the tracks. She saw the killing through the windows of a passing elevator. Train had 5 cars. She saw through the windows of the last 2.
The old man heard him shriek it out. Doesn't seem to fit.
We know he bought the switch knife that night. And we don't know where he really was. At the movies?
And earlier that night, the kid and his father did have a fight.
He's been a violent kid all the way, and while that doesn't prove anything.
Still, you know.
I've got a proposition to make. I want you 11 people to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there are still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. We could take any guilty verdict right now. That sounds fair enough.
I'm certainly in favor of it.
All right, let's do it.
Let's roll it.
What happened, Beth?
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That's 6.
Please. 6 guilty. 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 Guilty.
Not guilty.
Guilty. How do you like that?
Who was it? I think we have a right to know.
All right, who did it? What an idiot changed his vote.
That's the way to talk about a man's life.
Oh, whose life are you talking about? The life of a dead man or the life of a murderer?
I want to know
So
who.
do I.
Excuse me, this was a secret ballot?
Look, everyone looked while we did it, but now I want to know.
A secret ballot. We all agreed on that point. No? If the person wanted to remain a secret...
What are you talking about? There are no secrets in here. I know who it was. What is the matter with you? You come in here and you vote guilty with the rest of us, and then this slick preacher starts to tear your heart out with stories about a poor little kid who just couldn't help becoming a murderer. So you change your vote. If that isn't the
Hold it!
I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but let's try to be fair.
Will it be fair? That's just what I'm saying. We're trying to put a guilty man into the chair where he belongs. But instead we're sitting in here, listening to fairy tales.
Just a
Now
minute.
you listen to
Let's
me.
keep this organized, people.
It's not organized, but let's try to be civilized.
Please! I would like to say something. I have always thought that a person was entitled to have unpopular opinions in this country. This is the reason that I came here. I wanted to have the right to
Do
disagree.
you disagree with us?
Usually I would. In this one case, I agree with you. But the point I wish to make is that in my own country, I am ashamed to say...
Oh, now, do we have to listen to the whole history of your country?
It is always wise to bear in mind what has happened in other countries when people aren't allowed to disagree. But we are. So let's try to stick to the subject.
Yes, let's stick to the subject. So what made you change your vote?
I would like to know too. You haven't told us yet.
What makes you think I changed my vote?
Because I do. Now get on with it.
There's nothing for her to tell you. She didn't change her vote. I did.
I was going to tell you, but you were so sure of yourself.
Sorry. Okay, now, maybe if
woman chose not to stand alone against us. That's her right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even when you believe in something very strongly. She left the verdict up to us. She gambled for support, and I gave it to her. I want to hear more. The vote is 10 to 2.
That's fine. If the speech is over, let's go on.
If there were anything in the kid's favor, I'd vote not guilty.
I don't see what it is.
Neither do I. They're clutching at straws.
As guilty as it gets. That's the kid, I suppose.
It's that one juror that's holding out, but she's got to come around. Fundamentally, she's a very reasonable woman.
I guess so.
They haven't given us one real fact yet to back up a not guilty verdict.
It's hard, you know?
It is. And what does guilty beyond a reasonable doubt even mean?
What is a reasonable doubt?
Exactly. What is a reasonable doubt when a life is at stake? You've got to draw the line somewhere. You've got to have law and order. Otherwise, everybody would just start knifing people.
No doubt here.
Two of them think so. I wonder why. I really do.
You do hear stories about innocent men who have gone to jail or death sometimes. Then years later, things turn up.
But on the other hand, you do hear stories about killers that get turned loose and they do it again. They squeeze out on some technicality and they kill again.
Hey, buddy. Look, I got a little excited back there. You know how it gets. I didn't mean to get nasty with you or anything. It's nothing personal.
Okay.
Look, suppose you answer me this. If the kid didn't kill him, then who did?
As far as I know, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
I suppose, but who else would even have a motive?
The boy's father was alone in years, maybe an old grudge.
Remember, it is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This is an important thing to remember. Everyone's a lawyer.
All right, supposing you explain to us what your reasonable doubts are.
This is not easy. So far, it's only a feeling I have. A feeling. Maybe you don't understand.
No, I don't.
A feeling. So what are we going to do? Sit around and talk about your feelings all night? What about the facts?
You said a mouthful. Now look, the old man heard the kid yell, "I'm gonna kill you." Then he saw the kid running out of the building 15 seconds after that.
Where's reasonable doubt in that?
That's right. And let's not forget about the woman across the street. She looked into the open window and saw the boy stab his father. She saw it.
Now if that isn't enough for you, it's not enough for her.
What is enough for you? I'd like to know.
How do you like that? It's like talking into a dead phone.
Need I remind you about the old woman? She remembers the most insignificant details.
Well, what have you got to say about that?
Don't seem to fit.
Well, supposing you think about it, lend me a piece of paper, will you? Play some tic-tac-toe. Might as well pass the time.
This isn't a game.
Hey, wait a minute!
This is a man's life.
Who do you think you
All
are?
right, let's take it easy.
Are you kidding me? I've got a good mind to walk around this table and belch her
Please.
once. I don't want any fights
Did
in
you
here.
see
her? The nerd, the absolute nerd.
All right, forget it. It don't mean anything.
How about sitting down?
This isn't a game. Who does she think she is?
Weren't we talking about elevated trains?
Yes, we were.
So?
All right. How long does it take an elevated train going at top speed to pass a given point?
What has that got to do with anything?
How long would it take?
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I.
I don't think they mentioned it.
What do you think? About 10 or 12 seconds, maybe? I'd say that's a fair guess. Anyone else?
I would think about 10 seconds, perhaps.
About 10 seconds, yes.
All right, we're agreed. 10 seconds. What are you getting at?
This. An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. That given point is the window of the room in which the killing took place. You can almost reach out of the window and touch the L, right?
That's right. I've tried it.
And how many of you have ever lived next to the L tracks?
I've lived near them.
They make a lot of noise, don't they? I've lived right next to the L tracks. When your window is open and the train goes by, the noise is almost unbearable. You can't hear yourself think.
Okay, you can't hear yourself think. Get to the point.
The old man downstairs heard the voice say,
Wait, he didn't say it. He screamed it.
the old man heard the voice scream, "I'm going to kill you." Then 1 second later, he heard the body falling. 1 second. That's a testimony, right?
Right.
The woman across the street looked through the windows of the last two cars of the L and saw the body fall. Right?
Right.
The last two cars. The last two cars.
What are you giving us here?
An elevated train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. The train had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, maybe more, before the body fell, according to the woman. The old man would have had to hear the voice say, "I'm going to kill you," while the front of the L was roaring past his nose. It's not possible he could have heard it.
What are you talking about? Of course he could have heard it.
With an L train going by,
He said the boy yelled it out.
an L train makes a lot of noise.
Well, it's enough for me.
It's enough for me, too.
I don't think he could have heard it. Maybe the old man didn't hear it. I mean, with the L noise.
Oh, what are you people talking about? Are you calling the old man a liar?
Doesn't seem to fit.
Well, it stands to
You're
reason.
crazy. Why would the old man lie? What has he got to gain?
Attention, maybe.
You keep coming up with these right sayings. Why don't you send one into a newspaper to pay you $2?
What does that have to do with a man's life? Why might the old man have lied? Who had the right to be heard?
It's just that I looked at him for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was split under his arm. Did you notice that? This was a very old man with a torn jacket, and he carried 2 canes. I think I know him better than anyone here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant man who has been nothing all his life. Never had recognition, his name in the newspapers. Nobody knows him after 75 years. This is a very sad thing. A man like this needs to be recognized, to be questioned and listened to and quoted just once. This is very important.
And you're trying to tell us that he lied about a thing like this just so he could be important?
No, he wouldn't really lie, but perhaps he'd make himself believe he heard those words and recognize the boy's face.
Well, that is the most fantastic story I've ever heard. How do you make up something like that?
I'm not making it up.
You must be making it up. People don't lie about things like that.
He made himself believe he told the truth.
What do you know about it?
I speak from experience.
What?
I am the same person.
I think we understand now. Thank you.
All right. If you want to admit you're a liar, it's all right by me.
Well, that is too much.
What? She's a liar. Didn't she just tell us so?
She did not say she was a liar. She was explaining.
Didn't you just admit to being a liar?
Oh, please. She was explaining the circumstances so we could understand where the old man might have lied. There is a difference.
A liar's a liar. That's all there is to it.
Please, have some compassion.
Come on. We have our job and our duty here.
I think they've covered it.
I hope we have.
Is there anything else?
Cough drop? Cough drop?
No, thank you.
Anybody want a cough drop?
Let's get on with it.
I'll take one. Thank you. Now, there's something else I'd like to point out here. I think we've proved the old man couldn't have heard the voice say,
No,
"Going to kill you."
I disagree.
Let's hear her out anyway.
But assuming he really did hear the voice say, "I'm going to kill you." This phrase, how many times have you used it? Probably hundreds. You do that once more, Junior, I'm going to murder you. Come on, Rocky, kill him. We say it every day. This doesn't mean we're actually going to kill someone.
Don't the circumstances alter that somewhat?
The old man was murdered.
One thing more. The phrase was, I'm going to kill you. The boy yelled it out at the top of his lungs.
That's how I understand it.
Don't try and tell me he didn't mean that. Anybody says a thing like that, the way he said it, they mean it.
And how they mean it.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you really think he would shout out a thing like that for the whole neighborhood to hear it? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Right. He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
The boy is clever enough.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
The vote is 9-3 in favor of guilty.
I think there's a doubt.
Oh, where? What is the doubt?
There's the knife.
Oh, fine.
She talked you into believing a fairy tale.
Go on. Give us your reasons.
The old man, too. Maybe he did lie, but just maybe he did. Maybe the old man didn't like the kid.
If this isn't the end,
I believe that there is a reasonable doubt.
what are you basing it on? Stories that this one made up? She ought to write for the Amazing Detective Monthly. She'd make a fortune. Listen, the guy had a lawyer, didn't he? Why did he bring any of this up?
Lawyers can't think of everything.
Oh, brother. You sit here and make stories out of thin air. What? I'm not supposed to believe the old man didn't get out of bed, run to the door, just see the boy booking it down the stairs 15 seconds after the murder?
Well, that's the testimony.
And the old man swore to this. Yes, he swore. And for what? So he could be important?
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran, walk, what makes the difference? He got there.
I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could have run.
He said he went. I remember now. He went from his bedroom to the front door. That's enough, isn't it?
Where was the old man's bedroom again?
Down the hall somewhere?
Oh, it's down the hall. We didn't send the boy off to die because it's down the hall somewhere.
I thought you remembered everything. Don't you remember that?
No, I don't.
I don't remember either.
Madam Foreman, I'd like to take a look at the diagram of the apartment.
Why don't we have him run the whole trial over again so you can get everything straight?
The bedroom is down the hall somewhere. Do you know where it is? Know exactly where it is. Please. A boy's life is at stake. Do you know?
Well,
Madam Foreman.
I heard you. Oh, come on. What's this one for? How come you're the only one who wants to see these exhibits all the time?
I want to see this one too.
So do
Well, I
I.
want to stop wasting time.
Are we going to start wading through all that nonsense about where the body was found?
No. We're going to see how an old man just had 2 strokes in the past 3 years and he walked with a pair of keys. He get to his bedroom, front door, in 15 seconds.
No, he said 20 seconds.
He said 15.
How does he know what 15 seconds is? You can't judge that kind of thing.
He said 15. He was very positive about it.
He's an old man. You saw that. Half the time he was just confused. How can he be positive about anything? Well, you know.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you know.
Is this what you wanted?
That's right. Thank you.
Sure, that's my job.
You want this? Yes, please.
here, do me a favor. Wake me up when this one's over.
I looked at that diagram for 2 hours. Enough is enough.
Some of us are interested. Go ahead.
All right. This is the apartment in which the killing took place. The old man's apartment is directly beneath it and exactly the same. The old man was in bed in this room. He says he got up, walked down the hall, and opened the front door, just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right?
That's the story.
That's what happened.
15 seconds after he heard the body fall.
Correct.
The length of the bedroom is 12 feet. The length of the hallway is 43 feet 6 inches. Yes, the bed is out the window. Yes, get up out of bed, get his canes, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet, and open the front door. All in 15 seconds. Do you think this is possible?
You know it's possible.
I don't see why not.
Would have been in a hurry. He heard the boy scream.
He can only walk very slowly. They had to help him into the witness chair.
Oh, come on, you make it sound like a long walk. It's not.
For an old man who uses canes, it's a long walk.
Hey, what are you doing?
I want to try this thing. I'm going to pace off 12 feet, the length of the bedroom.
You're crazy. You can't recreate a thing like that.
Perhaps if we could see it. This is an important
It's a
point.
ridiculous waste of our time.
I can't
Don't
see
do
any
it.
harm in it. Foolish, but go ahead.
Let me a chair, please. This is the bedroom door. How far would you say it is from here to the door of this room?
I'd say it's 20 feet, just about.
20 feet is close enough. So from here and back is about 40 feet. That's shorter than the length of the hallway the old man had to walk through. Wouldn't you say that?
A few feet, maybe.
Look, this is absolutely insane. What makes you think you can do this?
We can't stop her. Do you mind if I try it? According to you, it will only take 15 seconds. We can spare that. Does anyone have a watch with a second?
I have.
When you want me to start, stand your foot. That'll be the body falling.
We'll time you from there.
Let's say he keeps his canes right at his bedside, right?
Right.
Okay. I'm ready.
I want the hand to be at 60.
Speed it up. You walk twice as fast as that.
This is, I think, even more quickly than the old man walked in the courtroom.
No, it isn't. You think I should go faster? I will.
Speed it up a little.
Stop.
About 39 seconds.
Hey!
What's
now,
happening?
The old cripple swore on his oath it was 15.
She may have been a little off on the speed that the old cripple moved at, but 24 seconds off? Well, now, you know.
Far be it for me to call anyone a liar, and even allowing for quite a difference in speed between the old man and you. But still, there's quite
Quite a discrepancy.
It's my guess that the old man was trying to get to the door, heard someone racing down the stairs, and assumed it was the boy.
I think that's possible.
Assumed! Now listen to me, you people. I've seen quite a lot of dishonesty in my day, but this little display here just takes the cake.
What dishonest?
You! Tell her! You come in here with your heart bleeding all over the floor about slum kids and injustice. And you make up all these wild stories that you've got some soft-hearted old ladies listening to. Well, I'm not. I'm getting really sick of you. What is the matter with you? All of you! This kid is guilty! He's got a bird! We're letting him slip through our fingers here!
Our fingers. Are you his executioner?
I am one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I'd like to pull the switch. I'm sorry for you. Don't start with me.
What it must feel like to want to pull the switch.
Shut up!
You're a sadist.
Shut up!
You want this boy to die because you personally want it, not because of the facts. You're an animal. You disgust me.
Shut up! I'd like to kill you! Hey! Let me go!
You don't really mean you'll kill me, do you?
I heard the noise. Is everything all right?
Yes, everything's fine. You can take that back now. We're finished with it.
What are you all looking at?
I don't see why we have to behave like children in here.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility here. This is a remarkable thing about democracy, that we are, what is the word? Notified. That we are notified by mail to come down to this place and decide the guilt or innocence of a man. Of a man we have not known before. We have nothing to gain or lose by our verdict. We should not make it a personal thing.
Thank you very much.
Why do you thank me?
We forget. It's good to be reminded.
Well, we're still nowhere.
No, we're somewhere. We're getting there. Maybe.
Maybe.
So who's got an idea?
I think maybe we should try another vote. Madam Foreman,
That's all right with me. Anyone doesn't want to vote?
Let's vote.
Yes. Vote.
I want an open ballot. Let's call our votes out. See who stands where.
That sounds fair enough. Anyone object? All right. I'll call off your jury numbers. I vote guilty. 2, not guilty. 3,
Guilty.
4,
Guilty.
5,
Not guilty.
6, not guilty. 7,
Guilty.
8, not guilty. 9,
Not guilty.
10,
Guilty.
11,
Not guilty.
12,
Guilty.
That's 6 to 6.
I'll tell you one thing. The real crime is being committed right here in this room.
The vote is 6 to 6. Why don't we just walk into court right now and declare a hung jury? There's no point in this going on anymore.
I'd like to know why you changed your mind. And why you changed your mind. And why you did. There are 6 of us in here who think that we may be turning a murderer loose in the streets. Emotions won't do. Why?
it would seem that the old man did not see the boy run downstairs. I do not think it likely that the old man heard someone scream, "I'm going to kill you." Old men dream, and if the boy really did scream that he was going to kill, then we have the authority of this woman to prove it might not really mean he's going to kill.
Let's just walk into court right now. Clara Hunt
unanimous. And we're never going to convince her.
First I was alone. Now 5 others agree. There is a doubt.
You can't ever convince me there's doubt. Because I know there isn't no doubt.
I tell you what, maybe we are a hung jury. It happens sometimes.
We're not going to be a hung jury.
Well, we are. Right now. A perfect balance. Let's take it into the judge.
If there is a reasonable doubt, I don't see it.
Doubt is there in my mind.
Maybe we should vote.
What do you mean vote?
Not again.
I still want to know. Vote on what?
Are we or aren't we a hung jury?
You mean that yes, we are a hung jury, or no, we aren't a hung jury?
That's just what I was thinking.
We can't even agree on whether or not the window should be open.
Let's make it a majority vote. The majority wins.
So if 7 or more of us vote yes, that we are a hung jury, then we take it into the judge and tell him that we're a hung jury?
Right. Then, if 7 or more vote no, then we aren't a hung jury, and we go on discussing it.
It doesn't seem quite right to me.
It's the only solution.
I agree. It's the only way.
Anything to end this.
Are we agreed then? 7 or more vote yes, and we take it to the judge. And we call our votes out. Okay. I vote yes, we are a hung jury. 2.
No.
3.
Yes.
4.
Yes.
5.
No.
6.
No.
7.
Yes.
8.
No.
9.
No.
10.
Yes.
11.
No.
12.
Yes.
That's 6 to 6.
We can't even get a majority to decide whether or not we're a hung jury.
I went along with the majority vote on this question, and I didn't really agree with voting that way. Not really, and I still don't. So I'm changing my vote. I say no, we are not a hung jury. Now, I still think that the boy is guilty of murder, but there are some things I would like to find out from those that have changed their minds.
So we aren't a hung jury. And we go on.
Good. Go on.
Why did you change your mind?
She seems so sure. She has made a number of good points. While she only gets mad and insults everyone.
Tell me, does the anger and the insult change the guilt of the boy? Are we to turn a murderer loose because one of the jurors gets angry when she thinks a murderer is being turned loose?
That's true.
There is a doubt.
I don't think so. The tracks are straight in front of the window. Let's take that point. So the train would have made a low rumbling noise. L trains screech when they go around curves. So I think the old man could have heard a scream, which is high-pitched, and it's a tenant, and they have thin walls.
Good. That's it.
And what if the old man was wrong about the time it took him to get to the front door, but he was right about who he saw once he got there? Remember, there were no fingerprints on the night, and it's summer, so gloves seem unlikely.
That's right. I want you to listen to this man. He's got the goods.
I'm saying that the old man may have been wrong about the time it took him to get to the front door, but that he was right about who he saw running down the stairs. The murderer could have easily used up 39 seconds, wiping away the fingerprints and running down the stairs.
Why don't we just time this one to see?
What exactly are we timing?
Yes, be exact.
Well, we reconstructed the old man getting out of bed and going to the door, and we timed that. Now let's reconstruct the actual crime.
As well as we can reconstruct it.
I think the murderer could have used up 30, 40 seconds easily. Let's just reconstruct the crime.
All right. Why don't you do the stabbing?
No, I'll do it.
Fine. Why don't you be the one that gets stabbed? You're younger than I am. Don't forget. Take 1 second to fall.
And he was found on his side, his right side, so fall and roll onto your right side. If someone hates another person enough to kill them, don't you think that they would take a second or two to look at their victim?
Divorce yourself from this particular case. It's just human nature.
Yes, it seems reasonable.
Hey, wait a minute. He falls and he lands on his right side, the old man, that is. But stabbing someone isn't like shooting them, even when it's right in the heart. He would have worked around for a few seconds, lying there on the ground, writhing, maybe.
There would be enough oxygen in his system to work around for 2 or 3 seconds, I should think.
Then wouldn't the father have cried out?
Maybe the kid held his mouth.
It also seems possible.
Also, there's another point we might bring about. If someone is clear enough mentally to wipe the fingerprints off of the handle of the knife, don't you think they would be clear enough mentally to look around the room and see if there are any other obvious clues? It would only be for a second or 2, I should think, but still, they would look.
This gets better and better.
We're trying to make it clear. One doesn't talk about quality when murder is involved. Well, let's reconstruct the killing.
About this on the fingerprints. The kid wiped the fingerprints off the knife. Well, what about the doorknob? If I saw a man coming into my home, a man that hated me, and if he was wiping the doorknob with a handkerchief as he came in, that would give me an uneasy feeling. So the doorknobs would have been wiped after the killing, and those 2 would take time.
You timed the last one. Why don't you time this one as well?
All right.
Stamp your foot when you want me to start.
I want the hand to be at 60.
I'm going to kill you. He would have wiped both knobs. Stop.
15, 20, about 29 and a half seconds.
29 and a half.
And whoever did kill the old man, and I think it was the boy, still would have had to run down the hallway and down the stairs. At least one flight of
You
stairs.
see? Do you see?
So in light of this, I think it's quite reasonable to suppose that the old man was wrong about the time it took him to get to the front door, but that he was able to see who ran down.
So now both timekeeping sequences check. The one you did and the one we did. Well, with running downstairs and everything, it does pretty much check out on times.
Sure, the old man probably just wants attention. She's right. But he feels the same way we all do. A life is at stake.
So the story of the old man may well be true.
Except for the fact that he absolutely swore under oath that it was only 15 seconds.
We seem to all agree that it must have been 25 to 40 seconds later.
You are now admitting that the old man lied in one case and told the truth in the other. I admit this does tend to confirm the story of the old man, but in part, he's now a proven liar, and this is by your own admission.
That may be true, that the old man lies in part. But I think I'll change my vote once more. Guilty.
All right, then. What about you? What do you think now?
I'm not just sure what I think. I want to talk some more. First I said guilty, then I changed. Now I'm sort of swinging back to guilty.
What about you?
No, I am in a real doubt. A real doubt.
I say guilty, I was right the first time.
There. Now we're beginning to make some sense in here.
It seems to be about 9 guilty and 3 not.
One more question about the old man downstairs. How many of you live in apartment buildings?
I don't know what you're thinking, but I know what I'm thinking.
And what is that?
I do not live in a tenement, but it is close and there is just enough light in the hall so you can see the steps. No more. The light bulbs are so small. And this murder took place in a tenement. Remember how we stumbled on the steps?
The policemen were using big bulbs and one even had a flashlight. Remember?
An old man who misjudged the time by 20 seconds, on this we all agree, looked down the dark hallway and recognized a running figure?
He was 100% wrong about the time. Took twice as long as he thought.
Then could not the old man be 100% wrong about who he saw?
Now that is the most ridiculous thing I've heard all day. You're making that up out of thin air.
We're a hung jury. Let's just be honest about it.
Yeah.
Do you truly feel that there is no room for reasonable doubt?
Why, yes, What do you mean I don't understand it? Who do you think you are to talk to me like that? How do you like this guy? She comes here running for her life, and before she can take a big breath, she's telling us how to run this show. The arrogance of her!
No one here is asking where anyone came from.
I was born right here!
Or where your father came from.
Maybe it wouldn't hurt us to take a few tips from people who came running here. Maybe they know something we don't know. We're not so perfect.
It's all right. I'm used to this. Thank you.
It's not all right.
Okay. I apologize. Is that what you want?
That's what I
All
want.
right. Let's stop the arguing. Who has got something constructive to say?
Well, something's been bothering me a little. This whole business with the stab wound and how it was made. The downward angle of it, you know?
Come on, don't tell me we're going to start with that again. They went over it in court.
No, they did. But I don't go along with it. The boy is 5 feet 8 inches tall. His father is 6 feet 2 inches tall. That's a difference of 6 inches. It's a very awkward thing to stab down into the chest of someone who's half a foot taller than you are.
All right, listen. You're not going to be satisfied till you see it for yourself. Allow me to demonstrate. Somebody get up. Now watch closely. I don't want to have to do this again. Is that about 6 inches?
It's more than 6 inches.
Then let it be more.
Jesus!
That's not funny. What is the matter with you?
Oh, come on now. Nobody's hurt, are they?
No, nobody's hurt.
All right. There's your ankle. Down and in. That's how I stab a taller man in the chest. That's how it was done. Take a look at that. Tell me I'm wrong.
Down and in. I guess there's no argument. Did you ever stab a man?
Of course not.
Did you?
All right. Let's not be silly.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
Then where'd you get all your information about how it's
What
done?
are you talking about? It's just common sense.
Have you ever seen a man stabbed?
No.
I want to ask you something. The kid was an experienced knife fighter. He was even sent to reform school for knifing someone. Isn't that so?
Yes, that's right.
Look at this. Doesn't it seem like an awkward way to handle a knife?
What are you asking me for?
Wait a minute, what's the matter with me? Give me that knife. Have you ever seen a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
In the movies?
In my backyard, on my stoop, in the vacant lot across the street. Too many of them. Switch knives came with the neighborhood where I lived. Funny how I didn't think of that before. Guess you try to forget those things. Anyone who's ever used a switch knife never would have stabbed downward. You don't handle a switch knife that way. You use it underhanded.
You couldn't make the kind of wound that killed his father.
I suppose he could have made the wound, but it's not likely. Not if the kid has ever had any experience with switch knives, and we know that the kid had a lot of experience.
I don't believe it. You're giving us a lot of mumbo jumbo.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know.
What about you?
Listen, I'll tell you all something. I'm getting pretty sick of all this. We could talk about this all night, but we should just break it up. Go home.
Before we decide anything more, I'd like to pull it all together.
Should be good.
She has a right. Go ahead.
Do you want me to time this too?
Let's hear her.
I'm in finance. I'm used to big shot pulling things together. Let's chip up a few shots and see if it will land on the green.
I want you all to look at this logically and consistently.
We have. Guilty.
I want to know, is the kid smart or is he dumb?
What do you mean?
The kid is an experienced knife fighter. The night of the murder, he bought a knife, a switch knife. It would then take a very stupid kid to go and murder a man. His father, an instrument that everyone would associate with the kid.
I quite agree. He's dumb.
However, if he were dumb, then why did he make the kind of wound that an inexperienced man would make with a knife? I'm not sure I understand. To murder someone must take great emotion, great hatred. And at that moment, he would use the knife as best as he could. And a trained knife fighter would use it as best he could train. under him. A man who has not been trained would go over him. But the kid is being very smart. Everyone knows he's an experienced knife fighter. So at that moment, he's smart enough to make the kind of wound that an amateur would make. That man is a smart man. Smart enough to wipe the fingerprints away. Perhaps even smart enough to do the killing as an L train is going by. Now, is the kid smart or is he dumb?
Now wait a minute.
And he, moving across the L tracks, saw the murder through the L train. So someone in that L train could have seen the murder too.
A possibility, but no one did that we know of.
It would take an awfully young man to see the murder then, as the train is going by.
Exactly. A dumb man. A very stupid man. A man swept by emotion. Probably he heard nothing. He probably didn't even hear the train going by. And whoever did kill his father did it as well as he could.
So,
The kid is an experienced knife fighter. He's smart enough to make the kind of wound to lead us to suspect someone else. And at the same time, he's dumb enough to do the killing as an L train is going by. To say the kid is guilty, you have to say he's dumb from 8 o'clock until about midnight. And then at midnight, he's smart for a few seconds. And then he becomes dumb. And he becomes smart for a few seconds. And once again, he becomes stupid. So stupid that he does not even think of a good alibi. Now, is the kid smart or is he dumb? To say the kid is guilty, you have to toss his intelligence like a pancake. There is doubt, doubt, doubt.
hadn't thought of that.
The old man downstairs. On the stand, he swore it was 15 seconds. He insisted on 15 seconds, but we all agreed it must have been almost 40 seconds.
Does the old man lie half the time, and then does he tell the truth the other half of the time?
For the kid to be guilty, he must be stupid and smart, and stupid and smart, and so on. And also, for the kid to be guilty, the old man downstairs must be a liar half of the times, and the other half of the time, he must tell the truth. You can reasonably doubt.
I'm sold on reasonable doubt.
I think I am too.
I want to talk more. Now, how to...
I want another vote.
All right. There's another vote called for. I guess the quickest way to show of hands. Anyone object? All right. All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. 9. All those voting guilty? 3. The vote is 9 to 3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you people. How can you believe this kid is innocent, knowing what he is? You know how those people lie. I don't have to tell you. And let me tell you, they don't need any big reason to kill either. They get drunk and bang, someone's lying in the gutter. Nobody's blaming them. That's how they are. You know what I mean? Violent. Human life don't mean as much to them as it does to us. Hey, where are you going? These people are drinking and fighting all the time, and if somebody gets killed, so somebody gets killed. It's like they have no feelings. Oh, sure, there are some good things about them. Look, I'm the first to say that. But the rest of them, it's like they have no feelings. They can do anything. What is going on here? I'm trying to speak my piece, and you listen to me. These people are no good. Take it from me, this kid on trial. Well, don't you know about them? Listen to me, I'm trying to tell you something.
Enough. If you open your mouth one more time, I am going to split your skull.
I'm trying to tell you.
All right, everybody, sit down. I still think that the boy is guilty of murder, but I will tell you why. To me, the most damning evidence is the testimony given by the woman across the street.
That's right. As far as I'm concerned, that's the most important testimony.
All right, let's talk about it. What exactly did she say?
I believe I can recount it accurately. At 11 o'clock, she went to bed. Lying in her bed, she can look through her window and see directly into the window across the street. She tossed and turned for about an hour, unable to fall asleep. At 12:10, she looked through her window just in time to see the boy stab his father through the windows of a passing elevated train. To me, this frankly, in view of this, I don't see how you could vote not guilty. What do you think?
Well, maybe. There's so much evidence to sift.
What do you mean, maybe? You can throw out all the other evidence.
That was my feeling. I don't deny the validity of the points that she has made. Shall we say on one side of the tracks there is doubt? But what can be said about the testimony of the woman? She saw it.
What time is it?
10 minutes of 6.
You don't suppose they'd let us go home and finish it in the morning? Got a kid with mumps.
Not a chance.
Can't you see the clock without your glasses?
Not clearly.
Glasses are a nuisance, aren't they?
Well, what do you all do when you go to bed at night and want to know what time it is?
I put on my glasses and look at the clock.
I just lie in bed and wait for the clock to chime. It was a present from my father when we married, my wife and I. It was 10 years before we had somewhere to put it.
Do you wear your glasses to bed?
Of course not. No one wears eyeglasses to bed.
The woman who testified that she saw the killing wore glasses. What about her?
Did she wear glasses?
Of course! The woman wore bifocals. I remember this very clearly. They look quite strong.
That's right. Bifocals. She never took them off.
Honey, I hadn't thought of that.
I think it's logical to say that she wasn't wearing her glasses to bed. I don't think she put them on to casually glance out the window. She testified that the murder took place the second she looked out the window, that the lights went out a split second later. I don't think she'd have time to put her glasses on then. Now, perhaps she honestly thought she saw the boy kill his father. I say she only saw a blur.
Oh, how do you know what she saw? Maybe she's farsighted.
Does anyone else still think there's not a reasonable doubt?
I'll always wonder. But there is a doubt.
I think he's guilty.
Is anyone else?
No. I'm convinced now there is a reasonable doubt.
You're alone.
11 not guilty. 1 guilty.
I don't care. I do not care whether I'm alone or not. I have a right.
Yes, you have a right.
Well, I think he's guilty. What more do you want?
You're arguing.
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We're waiting to hear them again. We have time.
Listen. What's the matter with you? You! You're the guy? You made all the arguments. A guilty man. They're gonna turn him loose in the streets, a murderer. He's gonna die. Stay with me.
I'm sorry. I am convinced there is a reasonable doubt. I don't think I'm wrong often. But I was this once.
We're waiting.
You are not going to intimidate me. I am entitled to my own opinion. It's gonna be a hung jury, that's it!
There's nothing we can do about that except for hope that one night, maybe in a few months, why, you might get some sleep.
You're all alone.
It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
If it is a hung jury, there will be another trial, and some of us will point these things out to the various lawyers.